Welcome to another edition of Poor Man Sports. I am your host, one of your hosts, Alberto, joined by Eric and Josh. Guys, we have a lot to get into tonight, so we're gonna skip the formalities. If anybody wants to listen to us, go ahead, follow us on our socials. YouTube for Eric. You can get your updates. Josh is also on Poor Man Sports. You can catch him there as well. But let's just dive right in. Should we talk about what is basically the biggest story of the weekend?
Well, let's go over some of these games and thoughts before we go over the giant story that was the Bills and the Broncos. But were you surprised that Chicago lost against the Rams? Eric, did anybody care? I guess.
Well, I think there's two fan bases that care, or at least one and a half, maybe half of a fan base that won. And that would be the Rams. This was a tough, I don't want to talk too much about it. It was a highly competitive game. A very good game. And the Bears, again, they're just going in. This is the 2 weeks in a row they're going into overtime. They just went, the end of their season was just crazy, dude. Crazy football. And if you're a Bears fan, I know you're probably disappointed you lost, but there should be a lot of optimism if you're a Bears fan. You had a first-year head coach. He really revitalized your quarterback. Caleb Williams is a rare talent. I don't think he was great at times this season. And if you take a look from afar at his numbers for the year, you wouldn't just say they jump off the page, but I think it's more of like what his physical capabilities, dude. He has like Patrick Mahomes juju going on, dude. He does like just these weird things. Not weird, just astonishing things when he's running around the pocket. So if you're a Bears fan, it's definitely disappointing because you had a chance, dude. I think you would have probably fared well in this next game against the Seahawks, but it kind of feels like the Rams and Stafford and McVay, this feels like their last go as a coach and quarterback. You know what I mean? And they're highly talented. They're ultra talented. They sort of feel like the team of destiny. Makes me sick to my stomach, but it is what it is, dude. It is what it is.
I did say someone was going to throw 3 interceptions in the game. I didn't think it was going to be Caleb Williams.
That's not surprising, though. That's what I mean. Like, he's
not as accurate. I would say, like,
super accurate. Exactly. 54%, dude.
He's a tough player. He's mobile. He has a great mentality. I know Tom Brady is his biggest fan because they kind of share a lot of that hate mentality to fuel them to win game. But he's not as talented when it comes to throwing the football.
Can be though.
He can be, sure.
I think it'll take some time. You got to develop him.
Sure. But and I don't want to say that it was like a battle of the quarterbacks, which is kind of interesting. And for me to say that he was out quarterbacked by Matthew Stafford because the man only threw for 258 yards and he had 0 touchdown passes.
It was 47%, dude. It was very un-Stafford-like, but
yeah,
it was a grimy environment, dude.
But no turnovers, and that's usually that's what happens. You don't turn the ball over at least. You're going to be, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, no turnovers. That's the part. Stafford had no turnovers. This game still went to overtime, so it just goes to show, like, the turnovers kill you, dude. You went to overtime with those 3 interceptions. You take those 3 interceptions away, take those away. What's the result? I think if you're the Bears fan, you should feel optimistic. You're a Rams fan, I think you need to live right now in the moment because it feels like I don't know. I don't follow the Rams closely enough, but it feels like Matthew Stafford's been on the fringe of retirement. And, I think he's proved a lot in his career, and especially in the back end with the Rams. So I don't know if this is it for them. I mean, it wasn't that long ago Sean McVay was talking about retiring. And he's not even that old. He's in his 30s. God damn, it's like, you're young, dude. You're an unbelievable coach, and you're talking about that. But I don't know the business. I can understand it's a real tough business to be in, dude. It's nonstop. You get like 2 months off, and then you're just right back at it. You know what I mean, during the off season. So who knows?
49ers, Seahawks. Seahawks were in control of this game. Obviously, 41-6. I like to hear your input, Eric, because this team that lost. This team that lost obviously beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
We're not giving them high praise, man. What do you?
I don't want to make this about the Eagles, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to for a brief moment. Like, if there was any indication that our team was dysfunctional and not prepared, or just not functional, this game said it all. This wasn't even close. And now I understand, like, the Seahawks and the 49ers definitely know each other quite a bit. This is their third matchup. But it was embarrassing. And as I'm glad, like, we just were put out of our misery. Because there was no way we were going to move on and beat a team like Seattle. There was just no way. Now, oddly enough, I don't think we would have been blown out like the way they got blown out. But we sure as fuck wouldn't have won. So what difference does it make at the end of the day, I guess? And a loss is a loss and a win is a win. You move on. I think I'm a little disgusted with this overwhelming amount of what's from more of like the national media building Sam Darnold up. They're like, oh, Sam Darnold, he just got his playoff win. It's like the guy went 12 for 17 for 124 yards and a touchdown. And they're glazing this guy like, man, what a game. I'm like, huh? Like, he didn't do anything. They didn't win in spite of him. They won because their defense is incredible. They had that kick return right off the rip. You knew right away, dude, they returned that kick off. Broncos fans should know Seattle has weird juju like that. They, like, return the kick. They've been doing shit like that all year. They've been winning games in, like, so many ways, like defensive touchdowns, special teams. Like, they're just pretty well-rounded. They're going to be a very, very tough out. Very hard. They get the home game against the Rams. So, yeah, I think it put it into perspective of how far we weren't going to go in the playoffs. That's all there is to say. I got no shame in it. It's just true. We weren't going.
And everything goes full circle as well because, Kyle Shanahan, he was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta and that big comeback against the Patriots.
Look, dude,
he has that obviously under his belt. He has this under his belt.
Yeah, dude, it's very strange with him.
Yeah.
He's dude, I don't understand this Kyle Shanahan thing. Like, I understand where people are like, man, this guy is phenomenal. Like, last week, what he did against us was sensational. But then you got to stop and think, well, maybe it was just how dysfunctional we were more than him.
Well, I think that's just Kyle Shanahan in a nutshell, right? Is he shows you these glimpses of greatness.
Glimpses, dude.
Let's be honest, right? Philly didn't hand the 49ers game. The 49ers earned that win.
They did. Absolutely.
They were outplayed offensively. We gave them the flowers that they deserve. And then they show you those glimpses of just how utter garbage he can be.
Yeah.
And that was the Seahawks 49ers game. So maybe he just knows how to prepare for certain games. I don't know, call it whatever you want, but they were definitely outplayed as well.
Yeah, just a better team, dude.
Yeah, and then the next disappointment too was, and we're I feel like in this podcast we are definitely putting our foots in our mouth. We spoke highly about the 49ers, spoke highly about the Bears. Now it's the Texans as well. 28-16. Stroud played a ferocious game.
Horrible, dude.
And we said that this guy was better than Bo Nix. Did we not say that last week?
We did say that.
We did.
Yeah, here's the clip.
Yeah, hey, Alberto, you want to bring that up real quick? Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
No, you're right, Josh. Like, foot in our mouths. I'm done with CJ Stroud. Not to say I was ever. I mean, I think I've tried to tell myself, like, I don't watch the Texans that often, but like, I kind of like. I remember his rookie year. He had a really strong rookie season for a rookie, and he's just kind of slowly gone like this, dude. And when you get into the playoffs, I mean, he had a turnover in the Pittsburgh game, 4 interceptions today. That's just gross and unexcusable. He doesn't look like a guy that's made for the postseason, and that's big, dude, because that's where you got to cash in and win. He just isn't, dude.
So
he's terrible.
Did Stroud have the worst performance in this entire playoff?
Well, absolutely, dude. It wasn't just the interceptions. I saw parts of that game. He looked. I mean, even last week against the Steelers, like he had moments where he's like, the throws are off, they're not timed, like the ball's like slipping out of his hands, dude. He had multiple times in the Steelers game and this game where he's going to throw the ball and it's kind of like just falling out of his hand, kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like just. I don't know if it's like slipping out of his hand or if he's unsure about the throw. Maybe he's like mid throw and he's like second guessing the throw. You know what I mean? And it's like it's causing a rift in his mechanics. I don't know what it is, dude. I couldn't tell you, but it doesn't look right. He looks like he's kind of seeing ghosts in the postseason, dude. Like all over the place. I don't think the Texans are going to win with that guy. I just don't.
Do you know what his overall QB rating was for today's game?
I would guess it was probably in the 20s.
28.
Yeah, so terrible, dude. Worst. He had a horrible postseason. I know they won that game in Pittsburgh, but they got 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. Their defense was sensational. That's what carried them. I don't know if it's a coaching thing with him, if it's the offensive, I don't know what it is, but it's not working. But it's weird because he gets him to the postseason and he'll win you a game. But that's not in this league. That's not going to be enough to do that every year. So, I'm off CJ Stroud thing. Get out of here. You know.
Yeah, CJ Stroud had 47 attempts. He only completed for 20 passes.
Horrible.
Higgins caught the ball for 59 yards.
Well, Woody Marks was their leading rusher, dude. He had 14 carries for 17 yards.
17 yards.
That's a yard per play, like 1.2.
Yeah.
That is
they were outplayed, outcoached.
But yet they were still in the game. That's what's crazy about this. We talk about the turnovers. They were in this game, dude. It was 21-16 in the fourth quarter. They were in the game. It's not like I don't think let's not give the Patriots.
No, and you can't say he only threw the ball for 179 yards, 27 attempts, completed 16 of those.
59%. He didn't light the world on fire.
No. It's like backup quarterback stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
This was a messy game, to your point. Yeah. It was close. There was a moment where it was just back and forth. Turnovers. Yeah. Another weird playoff weekend.
There was 8 turnovers total in that game, dude, combined. That was a sloppy game. But, hey, guess what? The Patriots, they're getting off the hook, dude. Not just in this game, but we'll get into it here in a little bit.
All right. Well, it seemed like the biggest game, at least for this podcast, was the Broncos against the Bills. The Broncos clinched out a win. The story for this game going in, Josh Allen had no. It seemed like he had no pressure going in, right? No Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow. All the stars should have aligned. This should have been his year, and somehow he gagged, and Broncos won. Before we get into what happened after that, what did you guys think of this game? Josh, we'll start with you.
I obviously I appreciate a win, especially for the Denver Broncos. But this was a tough win because I have a lot of respect for Josh Allen. I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL. He's arguably probably one of the toughest. First off, hats off to Bo Nix. Can we say that? Can we agree to that?
Is this coming from a Bo Nix hater, Josh?
Say whatever you want.
I'm a Bo Nix hater, and I think I am a believer. Finally, this guy played tough. 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. He only had 1 interception. That was really weird. I don't even know who he was throwing that to. He obviously led the game in rushing yards, which was sad. He put this offense on his back, and he literally second to last play, he still played injured. Didn't even know that he was injured, which just shows his physicality, toughness, his mental toughness as well. So just hats off to him. The guy played really well, and he's here to stay. I am extremely impressed by Bo Nix. Eric, what are your thoughts, man? How do you feel about the Broncos?
Look, this was an interesting game because Bo Nix, I've been a little bit more on the defense, right? Not on the defense for Bo Nix, but trying to tell you, like, hey, you got to calm down here because now you're about to find out what life is like without Bo Nix. Okay, and this is kind of, and I got a feeling you're going to find out now. We don't know. I was pretty impressed with Bo Nix, but not, I mean, look, he completed 56% of his passes. That's not great. However, there were some key moments in the game, and I've tried to explain this with a different quarterback, but we don't need to get into that. He made plays when you needed him to be made. There was a couple of late 3rd and longs that he was able to convert with his arm and his legs. And then to top it off, the play calling from Sean Payton, I'm assuming he's calling the plays, right? Where the Bills' best corner had to leave a play for an injury. He left for 1 play, and you guys attacked that corner that came in, and you scored a touchdown. And it was a beautiful pass, right? At the very end of the game where you guys took the lead briefly at the end of the 4th quarter. Bo Nix made some plays in the moment that counted. And that's what it comes down to, right? You're not always going to have the best stat line, clearly, right? Because 56% is not great anymore. Maybe like 15, 20, 30 years ago, it was viewed as, oh, that's pretty good. But now that's kind of like, oh, that's kind of like lower end pass, completion percentage. But he made the plays when they mattered, dude. And he put you guys in a position to win the fucking game. And then we find out he fucking breaks his foot, and he was doing this shit at the end of the game. injured, and you're like, okay, that's what you want out of a guy. So hats off to Bo Nix, dude, because he really did step up and play a very good game. Because I'm going to be honest, dude, you needed him because your defense gave up 30 points and 449 yards, which is rare for your defense. You're not giving up 450 yards, dude. I don't think you guys have done that all year. And
no,
30
we kept rushing at 90 yards a game total. Cook showed up 24 attempts, 117-yard rushing.
Yeah, that's good against Denver.
That's great. So
Yes.
so we were obviously exposed, and defensively, and I said it last week. And our defense did make some good plays. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk more about that a little bit later as well. But yeah, like they definitely exposed us on the rushing side of things. Cook showed up, and Josh Allen as well. 66 yards to him rushing the ball.
I'm fed up with this Josh Allen thing. I'm done with it.
So, Josh,
I'm done with it.
4 turnovers in this game. Josh Allen. You still think he's an elite quarterback after that?
I do.
Why?
I do. The man is literally putting the offense on his back. Okay. And he's up against the best defense in the NFL. We lead the league in sacks. Okay. He was sacked 3 times. He had 2 interceptions. Yes, he had 2 fumbles as well. But here's my problem. We talked about this in the past is when a quarterback is relied to do too much, they have to be too mobile. You are going to get messy, and you are going to generate more turnovers, especially against an elite defense like the Broncos. There shouldn't be any reason for a quarterback, in my opinion, to have 283 yards throwing and also 66 yards running. That is a recipe for turnovers. And let's be honest too, Josh Allen didn't have his extra step. The guy went into the game, he was injured, right? Before that, messed up calf, bruised ribs, fucked up hand.
These all sound like
And he
excuses, Josh.
still came in there to perform.
They all sound like excuses to me.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Alberto, for saying that. And Josh, thank you for highlighting all these great things about Josh because you called this. You said it, dude. I did. Hold on. You were right. You said he's going to throw 3 interceptions. There's going to be a pick 6. You went on this.
I did. Absolutely.
This whole tirade, Josh.
Yes, you went on this little diatribe, and you were absolutely right. So you're talking about a guy that is you're claiming is this elite quarterback, and yet you're like he's going to have 3 turnovers, which is just unacceptable. He had 4, and I don't give a fuck if they're interceptions or fumbles. He did not play a good football game. I'm tired of this like Josh Allen sob story because I'm actually going to disagree a little bit with what Alberto said. The pressure was on for him. The stars aligned, yes, but the pressure was on. There was pressure because there was no quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, in his way because they have beaten him in the postseason. This should have been the year that he got them there. And he did what? He turned the ball over, and this is what he does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I believe he leads the league in turnovers since he's been a starter. I think he's got nearly 100. That's just unacceptable. And we could look at the Bills and the organization and the team, fine. But he's turning the ball over, dude. He is turning the ball over. He's reckless. He's running around. You said it. James Cook had 117 yards on 24 carries. Why is he carrying it for 66 yards? Why are we doing that? You know he's probably got a bad leg or whatever's going on, and yet he's still out there doing all this shit playing hero ball. That's on him, dude. And I've seen a couple times now watching a Bills game. I saw it with the Eagles. I saw it with the Broncos, where a play happens where he's trying to extend the play. It results in either a really bad sack or a turnover, and his fucking offensive coordinator's like losing his mind in the fucking press box, like, what are we doing? You can literally lip read it. And what pisses me off is that the national media wants to cut him a break, cut him slack. Ace Daniel, okay, a guy who played quarterback.
The media destroyed Josh Allen.
No. Not all. The fans.
The media destroyed.
No, the fans are destroying him. There's people in the media trying to give him a pass. They're like, Chase Daniel, a media guy, who's like, forget the interceptions, forget it. Let's just put that aside. He missed this one pass.
Yes, talent bracket as CJ Stroud.
Hold on. Forget CJ Stroud for a second. He's dog shit. Okay. I don't want to talk about CJ Stroud. He sucks.
CJ Stroud, 4 interceptions, 4 turnovers. Okay.
CJ Stroud's awful.
Josh Allen had 4. So they're in the same bracket then. They're both garbage.
Yes, in a way. In a weird way, yes.
If the analysts are understanding, if I was a Bills fan, I would be frustrated with Josh Allen as well.
Should be.
Right? Absolutely. But the difference between CJ Stroud and Josh Allen is the talent, right? Josh Allen brings in more talent than any other quarterback that's in the postseason right now.
Then why did they win? Josh, why didn't they win?
Josh, hold on, Josh.
I'm not making excuses, right?
Josh Allen.
Sounds like excuses to me, man.
You know what the most egregious play was in this to me? There was a play at the end of the game. Josh Allen, I think it was Dalton Kincaid. He missed him, dude. He overthrew him. He was wide open. This would have been a touchdown, and I think the Bills would have won. He missed him for a touchdown right at the end of the game, and they had to settle for 3 to go to overtime. He misses Dalton Kincaid wide open. It would have been a touchdown. What pisses me off and what upsets me is I don't give a fuck about comparing athleticism, prolific passers. When it's Jalen Hurts, get him the fuck out of here. This guy sucks. But when it's Josh Allen,
let him cook. Let Eric cook.
Yeah, don't worry about the turnovers with Josh Allen. He's really going to want this throwback from Dalton Kincaid. Yeah, except he missed Dalton Kincaid. Wide open, dude. Like, that is a clutch moment where Bo Nix didn't miss that throw. Bo Nix made the throw in that game. This is a theme with Josh Allen now, dude. There's something missing. We're now completing his 8th season where they've not been in a Super Bowl. And I do think there's more than factors to it than just Josh. But there is something about the way he's playing football, the hero ball mentality that is costing him games. And it's not good enough, dude. It's not going to be fun.
Can I ask a question, Eric? Does this game suggest that the Bills need a change in the offensive strategy to protect Allen from himself in these high-pressure moments?
I love this question, and I wish I had the answer. But I do think, absolutely, there is something missing. There is some bugaboo running around with that organization. Okay? Something is missing because...
Is it the organization or is it Josh Allen?
I think it's a combination of both. I think Josh Allen gets into hero ball mode, and it's not necessary. To your point, it's just not necessary. But yet Jalen Hurts is criticized for being maybe too conservative at times, to not wanting to turn the ball over. Well, guess what? Because Jalen Hurts has been a little bit more conservative and not turning the ball over, it's won him a championship. It's actually put him in position to almost win 2. And you can say what you want. I don't care about if you think... Look, I know there's a lot of people, probably way more people out there than there would be that would side with Jalen, that would take Josh over Jalen. There's going to be. And I'm just sitting here wondering, well, dude, what is the ultimate goal at the end of the season? It is to win. And sometimes being a winner doesn't require to play hero ball. It doesn't. You have to be a little bit more conservative. You have to be.
Right? I'm looking at things from the position perspective, and I don't disagree, right? You have to have all things put into place in order to win a football, right? Right receivers, O-line, running back, so forth. If I were to talk about Josh Allen, that one thing that he is missing, okay, and seeing him at the end of the game in that final press conference, blaming himself. Maybe he does put too much on his back. Maybe he chooses to put too much on his back when he shouldn't. Maybe he doesn't have the IQ as a Jalen Hurts to see the field. Maybe he doesn't have strong enough. Maybe he doesn't have. I'm just asking. I'm just saying.
No,
right?
I keep going
because I give Jalen Hurts his flowers. Okay, in all seriousness, there's a lot of things that he is lacking talent wise. Or maybe Josh Allen doesn't have the winning mentality like he should. Maybe he comes off as this tough quarterback, gets beat to shit, he can take it, right? But mentally, what is going on in this quarterback's head? Maybe he's doing too much in his head. Maybe there's doubt. Maybe it is the organization. Does he believe in this organization?
I think the Bills are a problem. Right? I don't want to discount that the organization has something going on. I don't want to discount that because I do think there is. And I don't follow the Bills. So if you're a Bills fan, we've had a lot of Bills fans in the chats. Okay. Oh. If you've noticed, a lot of them. We had a lot of them in there before the game when I had posted your shit before, and you had one after. And they are salty. And I don't blame them. And I don't blame them one bit. It is a very passionate fan base, the Bills. They are hurting because they are having to sit back and.
I think your audio cut out.
Ooh. Your audio's out, Eric.
Is it loud?
Oh, wait.
There you go. Welcome back.
Yeah,
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. That's my fault. What I was trying to say is the Bills have a very passionate fan base. They do love the Bills. They have got to be frustrated as shit because I understand this whole thing with Josh. He does have moments where he is sensational, but he was outplayed by Bo Nix, dude. Bo Nix made massive plays in the clutch, dude, to help you guys win that game that Josh did not do.
Now that's a difference of again mentality, right? Like there's something about Bo Nix. Where he's going to go out there and he may give you head scratching moments, lack of accuracy, whatever you want to call it, not being able to see certain receivers as well. But he comes in with that winning mentality, and you see that. You see that in multiple games, and I genuinely believe Josh Allen is missing that. I don't know if it's a Josh Allen problem. I don't know if he doubts the organization. But I think you said it perfectly. I think it's something is missing from both sides, Josh Allen and the organization themselves. Because Josh Allen, when you look at him, when you see the things that he does, he is the most ideal quarterback. Right, the way he throws the ball down the field, his zips, how mobile he is, and I think that's why he gets a. From a lot of the analysts, from a lot of people that speak about him and stuff like that, because he has the talent, but does he have that mentality to elevate talent? I don't think he does. I don't think he does.
You told me one time, and a lot of people know this, Michael Jordan once said that the game is 90% mental. I believe that Jalen Hurts has way more mental fortitude. And he does it in a different way. Look, his play style is completely different. I'm not trying to say that
Jalen Hurts actually hang out with in the offseason.
He actually hangs out with Michael Jordan. He is a brand ambassador for the Jordan brand, and there's a reason for that, I believe. And it's
yes.
I'm highlighting that Jalen Hurts gets skewered to the bone when he doesn't play well. Like it is all like his fault.
It's low hanging fruit. When you play a position and you don't bring all of the key talent at a high level, unfortunately. And you and I can't, you have to agree with this. Jalen Hurts is missing certain things as a quarterback. Okay? talent-wise, but mentally, he's a winner.
Exactly. And that's what matters.
Right. He can work the offense. He takes care of the football very well.
He does. Doesn't mean he's perfect.
In all seriousness, Russell Wilson was in that same credit category as well. He missed a lot of talent. This isn't a dig. In all seriousness. Right?
I mean, Russell Wilson did win a Super Bowl. He played in 2 and won 1.
2, yeah. Just like Jalen Hurts, right? So you have to give these athletes, the respect. But I do think it is also low-hanging fruit because when they do fuck up, when there is a terrible season or if there is a bad game, right, it is mostly going to be on them because they don't have that talent to rise in certain games like this, unfortunately.
I have always told you, and I don't think they're the same player, so let's not get crazy here, but there is something about Bo Nix's play style and the way they run the offense that does remind me a little bit of Jalen Hurts and the way the Eagles do. They really got to run it the way that's best for them. And I think what you see is a level of confidence in that because the team is structured and organized and they want it to be done a certain way. They have control because there's a little bit of I think this is bullshit. I'm going to just say this. I don't want to get sidetracked on the Eagles, but now that the Eagles season's over, there's fallout, there's drama. It's always like that. It's always something in Philly, right? But there's this report that's out that's like Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman are reluctant to criticize Jalen Hurts. I think that's bullshit. I think that is bullshit. I think the Eagles Jeffrey Lurie controls the organization. Howie Roseman is his guy. They know what the fuck they want. You can't tell me that they are reluctant to fucking criticize Jalen Hurts. If they felt like Jalen wasn't the right guy or that they felt like it was going in a certain direction, you bet your ass they're going to fucking address it. Probably behind closed doors because that's what they do. And if they don't feel like he's the guy, they will not be afraid to move on. I am not saying that's what's happening. I'm just giving you a perspective on what I think and how they run the organization. I don't know if the Bills do that. It seems like Josh is doing things just all over the place.
Right. The interception at the end.
Yeah, so look, the tiebreaker usually goes to the wide receiver. He did have it in his hands. He had hit the ground with contact. I know they rolled over and the defender took it out of his hand, and it was clear that he took it. But the Bills, I don't remember who the receiver was, but he had it in his hand well after he hit the ground and was being contacted. And I think what people where Bills fans especially, are upset and they have the right to be is normally that play is 99% favors the offense. They always benefit the offensive player in that situation. Look, I don't know about this wasn't my team. The Bills aren't my team. The Broncos aren't my team. So I was shocked that they didn't turn that back over.
If you're a Bills fan, you have every right to be frustrated and to blame that on the refs. I look at it because I even watched that as a Bronco fan. I'm like, is that the right call? Is that the wrong call? What does this look like?
Yeah.
I looked at it as it was an interception, blah, blah, blah. It's ours. I looked at it as more of it could have gone both ways. It's that kind of that gray area where you don't know what is right or what is wrong, I guess. Because when I looked at it too, it looked like he was going for that as he was coming down.
Yeah, but the gray area favors the receiver almost every time. I think that's why people were shocked. And I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. That's why there's a rule. And the rule just didn't apply, I guess. Whatever. Look, there was other like I said, that one play, he should have hit Dalton Kincaid at the end. This is what I'm saying. That's a play that you make a better throw, you get in the end zone, you probably win. Because you're not always going to have a call that goes your way. You're always going to have to be up against some weird play. Every team deals with it in every game and during every game, every week of the season. There's going to be some weird call that your team's going to need to overcome. It's the way the game goes. You have to hit Dalton Kincaid over the middle.
Right.
to win the game. That's the play where he's wide open. It was designed. It worked. You missed him.
And clearly the
excuse us, folks. Anyway, so Bills fans, I understand why you're upset. I don't blame you. But there was a lot of other things that the Bills could have done to put themselves in a position to win the game, because I said it earlier, they had 450 yards of offense. They scored 30 points against the best defense in the league. They ran the ball well.
You should also be frustrated with the defense, because at the end, that penalties after penalty.
Yes, you got slopped.
They did do that to themselves as well, because at the end of the day, even if Josh Allen had his turnovers, his interceptions, his fumbles, and they won, it'd be a different story. That's the uniqueness. They wouldn't be hating on him because the Bills won. They'd be like, oh yeah, he played his heart out and he was still able to drive us down the field at the end of the day. He won. That's the thing that I hate about, and I'm guilty of this. You're guilty of this as well. Being a fan of the sport and wearing your Philadelphia goggles, your Bronco goggles is that low-hanging fruit. You're just gonna hate on the easiest thing, but yeah, it would have just been a different narrative if the Bills had won. But at the end of the day, too, you got to control yourself. You got to keep composure, and you can't allow penalties like that happen, because they could have kept their composures. They could have shut us down. They could have gotten the ball back. They could have ran it down for a potential touchdown.
Yep. And look,
penalties got us into the red zone.
Yep.
Penalties allowed us to kick that 3-point field goal. So at the end of the day, we won, not just because of that interception, however you want to call it. We won because of the penalties.
Yeah. Well, look, to wrap it up on that, just on that part of the game, it's funny you've mentioned about Jalen Hurts always looking the same in his face, right? He always has the same
And I don't say
there's
that
something about that.
I don't say that as a dig. I actually
no. I mean this in a positive manner, and I think you realize it. It's not a dig. I don't take it as a dig. There's something about that look. It's the look of I'm here to win a football game, and that's all that matters. And it's it's a mentality thing, and that's it.
No, he's definitely a lot more composed. He's a professional, in my opinion. But respect for Josh Allen as well, because he wears himself on his shoulder. He takes the grunt of it, and yeah, man. Again, it's that mental key, unfortunately, and that Bills defense, as tough as they weren't composed as well. They broke down.
They lost it at the end. They really got sloppy. That was just sloppy. Some of those pass interferences, I don't even think they needed to. There was no need for the contact. It was disappointing. Whatever. It's a frustrating way to die.
Shout out to Jason Farnsworth. Did you read that? 5880.
I've been reading them. Which one was it?
The last one from my short video.
That guy. Yeah.
He clearly stated, first off, Broncos didn't cheat that game, right? If anybody cheated the game, you got to hate on the refs more than anything.
Yeah,
right?
That's a very salty Bills fan.
Very, very salty, but again, respect. I feel where you're coming from. I get it. But again, you got to take your goggles off and you got to look at those penalties, because penalties like that are so fucking crucial, especially down to the wire. So,
yeah, yep. Yeah, he's. I did read that. He's definitely a passionate fan, very upset, and I don't blame him. But come on, there's other things you can look at. There's plays that could have been made that would have avoided all that. To your point, so.
All right. Well, the Denver Broncos, their path to the Super Bowl is now fundamentally changed with Nick's out. Jarrett Stidham, am I saying that right? That's the name of
Yeah, I
it.
think that's right. Yeah, close enough.
Is he enough to carry the Broncos to a championship game?
I don't think this is going to be interesting, right? This is going to show either are we going to miss Bo Nix? Was he really good to take us to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, and things like that? Or was it really the behind the scenes of how great Sean Payton is? Because that's kind of been our season back and forth. And I don't want to disregard Bo Nix, right? I loved and I want to respect what he has done, especially in these last 4 to 5 games, end of the regular season, these 2 games as well. But Sean Payton is the mastermind behind. He's the best coach in the league right now. I'm just gonna say that, and if he can elevate this offense, then yeah.
This is going to be a really interesting end for the Broncos because I don't know anything about Jared Stidham. I know who he is as far as a player, but I don't know anything about his. I don't know.
I think he's 0-4. I think he's 0-4.
I don't know because
he's 0-4 when he got started.
Here's what I'll say. But he's probably in a very good coaching situation, which is different this time around. And he's obviously on a better team because they're in the AFC Championship game. But there's a couple things about this Jared Stidham thing. Okay, there's going to be pressure. Okay, there's the pressure of the Super Bowls at your fingertips, or at least advancing to it. You are going up against a Patriots team that I think you can beat. However, they have a quarterback that has been playing, who's clearly earned his keep as the quarterback of the Patriots, at least for the foreseeable future, right? If you get past the Patriots, okay, which you could, because you get the game at home, I'm just looking at it like, well, who's waiting on the other side? There's going to be 2 teams, one that has a sensational defense in the Seattle Seahawks, and the other one is Sean McVay and Matt Stafford. I don't think he's going to be enough. I don't. Now, if you're a Broncos fan, I think you absolutely, the Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl is all that matters. Things could get real funny moving forward if you win, because then the Bo Nix thing might change a little bit. And we've seen this story before. I've seen this story before. And who was it? Who did it happen to be? Oh, it happened to be the Eagles, the 2017 Eagles, when we had Carson Wentz, who was playing extremely well. Now, Nick Foles is a little bit of a different. This is not necessarily comparing apples to apples. Nick Foles to Jared Stidham. It's not. So let's get that out of the way. Nick Foles should have probably never been traded from the Eagles, but thanks, Chip Kelly. You did us a solid. Not really. But he's not Nick Foles, but that changed everything for Carson Wentz after that Super Bowl win when we won with Nick Foles. I mean, Carson Wentz was never the same. Now, fortunately, our organization was able to flip it and start over very quickly. We got Jalen Hurts, and now here we are, right? So I think for me, I'm not a Bronco fan, but if I'm looking at it, for the sake of Bo Nix's potential legacy, this could be very dangerous if the Broncos win, because if you win the Super Bowl, yes, you're going to be happy. Yes, you're going to be celebrating because you earned the Super Bowl. You did. You earned it. You were one of the best. You were the best team all year, and you win. The pressure for Bo Nix is going to go so high that it might be very difficult for Bo Nix to recover from that. It could be very difficult, and this is a very strange situation that you guys are in, because if you do win and you get there and you win, Bo Nix is going to be he will be the scapegoat forever.
And I think Bo Nix, what sucks too is Bo Nix actually has repeated ankle injuries. I heard he had surgery in high school. I think he had surgery in college. And then year 2 with Denver Broncos, he's having surgery again. So the man has brittle ankles. We're starting a quarterback that is 1-3 in his entire career. He has 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. has only thrown for 1,400 yards for his entire career. So we're going to have to rely solely on Sean Payton.
You are. And
Either that or John Elway or Peyton Manning comes back from retirement,
Yeah, this is not a jab. This injury changes everything. I don't think you're going to win the Super Bowl. Not now. I think that the NFC teams are going to be, if you get to the Super Bowl, I think both the Seahawks and the Rams are going to be too tall of a task with a backup quarterback. You can't go into a Super Bowl with Jared Stidham going up against Matt Stafford. You just can't. You can't, dude. So, like I said, this is not Nick Foles type. This is not a Nick Foles type quarterback you got going in.
Sure.
This feels a lot like a Jeff Hostetler situation back in the 80s with the Giants. Similar injury with Phil Simms.
Yep.
Yeah, and Jeff took him all the way, didn't they?
They did. That is a pull, dude. Albert coming in with the bag. This did head. So this has been twice. We've seen this twice in history. The most recent was because we were alive because the Nick Foles situation. But Albert's exactly right. This did happen with Bill Parcells, a great coach in the '80s.
Kurt Warner as well.
Kurt Warner, well, except Kurt Warner took over early in the season.
Oh, okay.
Kurt Warner he took over early in the season, and Kurt Warner was fucking an outlier of talent. He was fucking really good. Because he then later
was like on the same level as Nick Foles, and I don't count Nick Foles, unfortunately, because when he was the starting quarterback for the Eagles, he was breaking Peyton Manning records.
Yeah, he was doing crazy shit. Nick Foles was doing crazy shit.
He was legit, and for him to come back as a backup from an injury for Carson Wentz, it was natural for him because he played the game. But I compare this to Bill Parcells and the Giants.
Yes, this is more like that.
It was this is apples to apples, simply because, again, Bill Parcells, one of the greatest coaches. Sean Payton.
Yes,
right now, arguably the best coach. So again, this isn't going to be really us relying on the quarterback. It's us relying on what Sean Payton brings to the table, and if he can, some of those play callings against the Bills, bringing in their offensive tackle as a receiver, that was huge. That wasn't Bo Nix.
Frank Crum.
That wasn't Bo Nix.
Do you know where Frank Crum? Do you know where Frank Crum went to school?
Where's that?
University of Wyoming. Interesting, huh? Yeah, just saying.
So did Josh Allen.
Oh, went to the University of Wyoming. Interesting. Yeah, great pull, Albert. This is more of a Jeff Hostetler thing. I'm just looking at the NFC teams that are left now, and
it's not enough. You're saying.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. We have one advantage. We have two advantages. What Sean Payton brings to the table, there's no tape. There's no tape on this guy. Okay?
No, there's not.
So there's no tape on Stidham. They don't know his playing style, right?
Nope.
This can work in our favor, right? And the Patriots, when we'll go back to Nick Foles. One advantage also wasn't just because he was talented, and this is me contradicting myself too, was they weren't prepared for Nick Foles. Every team in the postseason up to the Super Bowl was prepared for Carson Wentz. They weren't playing Carson Wentz football, that style of football. Nick
Foles did play, but Nick Foles had a lot of tape from his Chip Kelly days.
Yes,
you knew what he could do. And he did play. He played the back end of the regular season for the Eagles. He didn't just come in the playoffs. He came in the back end of the season. So he had probably 4 or 5 games that he played with that Eagles team.
True. But anytime a backup quarterback comes in, teams do have to adjust, and they're not as prepared. And then there's also that we have this in the bag mentality type of thing. Right? So ego plays a part of it. Overconfidence is a part of it. Do I think the Broncos have a shot? If I wasn't a Bronco fan, I would say we have no chance in hell, right? But that is the hope that I'm holding on to, is the level of hope that Sean Payton has, and then of course the Patriots, they don't know what they're getting themselves into, and we got to use that to our advantage.
Well, it's a game of three phases. Don't forget that too. And I think you guys are definitely better on defense. I will say this: Nick Foles was the Super Bowl MVP too. So it wasn't. I mean, he outdueled Tom Brady. That there's not many that could say they've done that. But I don't know if Jared Stidham's got Super Bowl MVP in him. But I understand what you're saying. There's no tape. It's kind of a mystery. I think. Unfortunately, I think you're praying for a Nick Foles situation, or maybe even a Jeff Hostetler, and you got to remember it's happened only 2 times.
No, and another thing too that's nerve wracking is I'm not worried about Ingram. I'm not worried about Humphrey. I'm not worried about Mims. I'm worried about Sutton. He has been at the end
when it mattered,
but he still had some crucial drop passes.
Yeah, I know he did
in this Bills game. He had 2, right? He had multiple game before that Jaguar game. He played poorly. Our last game of the season, Sutton is not playing at a high level caliber as a number 1 receiver.
Yeah, I agree.
And he makes difficult passes, and it's awestruck. It's amazing. It's awestruck, whatever you want to call it. But then those easy passes, what does he do? He drops them.
I know. It's very strange.
He has that reputation, and if he does not show up this game, if he does not produce 100 yards, 80 yards minimum, we have no chance whatsoever.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this game with the Patriots. I don't have a clue. I don't know what to think about it. I think there's this idea that the Patriots have kind of skated through this season, right? Like they had a very winnable schedule. If you look back at their schedule, it was not daunting. But you don't want to take it away from them because they are in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, they got to win games at the end of the day. And
yep, you got to win. You play, and they won the games. That's all that matters. That's it. And look, the Texans played them pretty tough today, defensive, like they did on defense, but their quarterback just sucked ass. So like if you look at the Texans, had they had a competent quarterback playing, they probably would have won that game, but they didn't. So it is what it is, and it's going to get real interesting. So,
well, looking into these next few games, this is going to be like a simple question to ask, but who do you see going into the Super Bowl in this moment in time? I know everything can change, just like it did yesterday, but what do you see as the picture here for the Super Bowl game?
I think it's going to be the Rams and the Patriots.
I say Seahawks and Patriots.
Damn, no Broncos, no. Until further notice.
I think if Bo was playing, it'd be the Broncos and the Rams. That'd just be me, but
yeah,
I think the Seahawks are the better of the 2 in the NFC. But again,
I'm rolling with. I hate it. I hate saying it. I'm not even saying this because it just makes me crawl.
Your most overrated team in the playoffs,
yep,
Eric.
Yep. But I just think I'm taking Matt Stafford over Sam Darnold. I just am. So.
Well,
I mean, that was a tough game the Rams won today, dude. That was a tough, grimy weather. Chicago was feeling themselves. The Bears were feeling themselves, dude, and that was cold. They're a They're from LA, playing in a dome, a very nice, well air conditioned venue, and to go in and win a game like that in a very, very hostile environment with that grimy weather, and you're going into overtime and it's freezing fucking cold. I like their chances, as sick as it makes me feel. I don't like the Rams, but it's hard to deny what they were able to accomplish today. So,
anything else that we can talk about for tonight's episode, or you think we just covered it all? I think we did pretty good.
I think we covered everything that needed to be covered.
Yes, sir.
Damn. Well, I mean, like I said at the top of the show, thank you guys for supporting us, for listening. For any of those who are listening, you could have chosen any other sports podcast, and you chosen Poor Man Sports, so we really appreciate it. Eric, where can they find you? Just once again, so they can listen to these episodes for the time being.
Well, right now on YouTube, join the Poor Crew. We invite you. We don't care what you're a fan of, and we're good with you talking shit. It's all good.
Please hurt our feelings. We have no idea what we're talking about. Again, this is from a poor man's perspective. We're a bunch of idiots, right? Just like you guys.
Yep.
Well,
yep. Go
couldn't have
Birds.
said it better. Eric, what have you got for us?
Go Birds. I just got Go Birds all day, every day. See you in 26.